My brothers and sisters are the only people that I ever really felt close with. I was raped when I was 9 over and over again by a person that was supposed to be my uncle. And I started drinking to cover up how I really felt. And I was like a chameleon. At 12 years old, I learned how to be a chameleon. Whatever situation I was in, I adapt to that, and I became that. And all through my teenage years, I dropped out of school. I just never fit in. I never knew how to really be a part of anything. You know, I never trusted in anything or believed in anything, and I couldn't connect with anybody. I end up in this crack house. I'm getting high. I'm sleeping with men, and I'm saying, people come, even in the crack house, people were coming, you don't belong here. You shouldn't be here. You don't belong here. Like, what y'all looking at? I don't, what y'all see? I don't see that. Where else do I belong? Where do I belong? What possible reason could I have to keep living? God, why? Either let me smoke myself to death or do something. I don't know what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, but do something. And I pray, I remember I praying that prayer. God, please send somebody. I don't know how I got here, but if you don't send somebody, I'm going to die. And New Year's Eve, I started going to Agape Temple of Faith. And I had planned just to go for the service. And I went, and it felt, when Pastor opened the doors of the church, it felt like something just grabbed me in the collar and pulled me up, because I hadn't planned to join or anything. And when I went up to join the church, I find myself confessing, saying the sinner's prayer, asking Christ to accept me again, to rededicate to him. But it was something in me that was hoping that if I just keep going, maybe this time something will happen. And I started in December. In January, I had an application for Jobs Partnership, and I was in this class. And when Pastor and his wife were telling me about the class, and I was thinking in my mind, okay, they're gonna teach me how to do a resume. All right, and so what? I'm gonna do a job for a while and then I'm gonna quit. I ain't gonna stay on it. But I went anyway. And oh my God, when I got there, I was like not prepared for what God had in store for me. What started everything for me was the night he was talking about forgiveness. And I'm crying, snot running out my nose, my eyes just, I'm really sitting there crying, and I can't tell nobody at the table why. And I asked to speak with Pastor Alden afterwards, after the class. And I told him some of my story, and I told him what had happened. And he balled, I will never forget that. He took a $5 bill and he balled it up, stepped on it, just did everything he could to make it ugly, and he picked it up. And he said, now, would you still want this? I say, yes, sir, that's still $5. He said, right, because it still has value. He said, and you still have value. He said, God, you've been through so much, but God still sees value in you. And you have to forgive the person that did that to you. That was mind-blowing in itself. And one night after class, it was on a Tuesday night after class, I told him, I said, I forgive you. I said, I'm calling you because I forgive you for what you did to me when I was a little girl. When I got off of that phone, I have not been the same since. I hung up and I cried, but it was a different cry. I'm sorry. I wasn't crying anymore because I was like ashamed or really like I was defeated, because all my cries before were cries of like just being so broken. And but this time it was like I knew I was different then. I knew that it was off of me, and I wasn't the same. It wasn't my mess. It wasn't my stuff. It was his. A little while after that, Mark connected me. Connected me with Susan Greenberg, and I got to talk about what happened to me and how to deal with it and why I was like I was. And the thing for me was, okay, that's not who you are. My life was defined around what happened to me, and I based myself on my experiences in childhood and as a woman. But when I learned that that didn't define me, and all this time I'm getting closer to Christ, and I'm learning that who he says I am is who I am. What I am in Christ, that's what defines me, not what happened to me. When I had to go and talk with, her name was Judith at Florida Hospital. I had to talk with her and then other people in human resources. I immediately start to use the skills I learned at Jobs Partnership. I knew how to dress. They gave me a suit and I knew how to dress. I knew how to sit up straight. I wasn't afraid to look my interviewer in the eye and talk with them. And when they accepted me in the phlebotomy program at Florida Hospital, I was like a little kid at Christmas. I was so excited. And I went in the phlebotomy program. I graduated at the top of my class. Florida Hospital hired me before I even finished the class. In 4 years, I went from being homeless, being on drugs, not having a relationship with my family, to dedicating my life to Christ, getting therapy, going through Jobs Partnership, going through phlebotomy school, and now being in the nursing program at Valencia, making A's and B's.